One half of total demolition by Chelsea. Maresca, you know what? Some might say, oh, red card, 15 minutes. What's going to happen? Well, it's meant to change, right? Chelsea, they always get red cards. Can he not get a red card in a 5-game challenge? Oh, they beat that today. Maresca taking off Tosin before he got a red card. Good shout. Smash the likes. Subscribe if you're brand new, right? I do a lot of these breakdowns. I might start putting stuff on screen as well with my notes coming up this weekend. Chelsea have got Sunderland, right? So, yeah, that's the next one. But let's go off this game and talk about how Maresca got everything spot on. And you know what? I feel like Chelsea are underrated at the moment. Honestly, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Chelsea more than most teams, right? But I keep looking at this and I feel like, what? Why is Chelsea going under the radar? I'm looking at you haven't lost since, obviously, Brighton since your red card. This is 3 games on the bounce you've won. And you look at your wins, right? Whether it's against, Benfica, Liverpool, and now there's been a little bit of a turning point and a bit of a switch. And, that there was a lot of stick on Maresca. Let's get that straight. There was a lot of people, weirdly, again, for me, asking for his head, basically. And I don't understand why. Because you get the right players on the pitch. And yeah, there was some moments where it was justified criticism, playing Estevao more, getting Neto on the field a little bit more off the left, maybe. Playing a recognised striker, Mark Zhu, who got a goal today, a brilliant night, a very, very brilliant goal, I must admit. Very well worked. And I was viewing that, right? And I'm just thinking, I feel like he's still learning. And I think he's kind of understanding, today, I'm looking at even just the lineup itself, right? And, you're starting with Estevao and a 10, Buenanotte. There was no João Pedro, letting him rest finally. You can see and feel that he's not ready to play 90 minutes. And you know what? Wesley Fofana coming back was huge as well, I find. And he was definitely a standout candidate because he dealt with a lot. Even though Ajax had 10 men, they still gave a little bit of something. But it's the calming presence at the back that I don't feel like many really speak about. It's always about that man's fitness, nothing more. But I've got some standout candidates today, and I've already said one of the names. But it's another name that I have a slight agenda against, right? And I'm not afraid to admit it, because I always want this guy to kind of just keep proving me wrong if possible. But I don't think he's been amazing of late, but he is picking up small performances, I must say. And this definitely in today's game, where I just looked at that and say he just ran the whole show. Like, the pass before the actual assist for goals, got the penalty as well. My standout candidate today was Enzo Fernandez. Simple. You could talk about Caicedo, got a good goal. I mean, it's deflected, right? But good goal. That ball strike was true. But if you're looking at the overall game, even before 15 minutes, Chelsea, look, I think, what was it called? Chelsea were like, what? That Taylor got sent off. Chelsea's gone 2-0 up. Weghorst thought he could bring it back. And that just wasn't really the case. It was more just the calming composure of the midfield that stood out for me, and also in the back line. With Toss in there, he looked probably the most shakiest. And I think Buenanotte wasn't really being as effective. Hence why, of course, he just kept playing him and just see it through. Let someone else rest. Neto does not need to come on this sort of game. But he played all right in the second half, I thought, Buenanotte. There was no goals, but you didn't need to. And that's what I call just good man management. The little things that don't get spoken about with Maresca is how he manages games, especially when Chelsea are winning. And that's been a recent thing as well. Even before the topsy-turvy, like what are Chelsea gonna do? Up the back end of last season, you can speak about that Club World Cup. Speak about it. Chelsea are clicking. And again, I like to say this about Man City at times. No one's talking about it. Why? They got 9 unbeaten, but no one talks about that. But Chelsea right now, they're starting to build some momentum. And you look at the upcoming fixtures they have as well, building more and more momentum, right? And I still struggle to see how no one can really point out how many injuries and how much adversity they're facing, considering, the place they are in the table, and even in the Champions League, securing W's very, very nicely, by the way. Like, I must say, like, I don't know where you are, but I know you're up there. You've had, is it 2 or 3 wins, was it? I'm not, you lot can tell me, because I know you beat Benfica, but Enzo Fernandez was the standout. Yeah. it's like Champions League and European football's really built for this man. Honestly, I really do think so. The pace is just about right. You know, he can get about the pitch. I would say there's less intensity, but this is where you can see a player's real footballing quality. And you know what? Enzo Fernandez is a very, very good footballer. No matter what I say about him, whether the pace is a little bit too fast from in the Prem at times, the guy's a very, very good footballer. Yeah. And today, he, for me, was just near enough perfect. You know, tackles, passes, driving with the ball, getting a goal when, you know, nice penalty, I suppose. I just thought that is what you call a standout candidate. Because typically we're talking about Caicedo putting in those sort of performances. But he started right back before Josh came on. And I didn't even know this, right? But Josh Achibong's actually a right back over a centre back. That's crazy. But yeah, Caicedo again. Guy's going to always give you 7, 8s out of 10s per game. I don't know the last time Caicedo dropped a stinker. Like a real stinker. Or for a full 90 minutes. The guy is, when you talk about money and what's worth it, you know when somebody and everyone stops talking about the price of a player, he must be doing something right. You know what I mean? Like, I just look at Caicedo, he's just absolutely phenomenal. And even Joao Hato, he played, or is it Hato? He played at left back. What a little dagger to play against your former club. And you had an absolute clinic in it. Like, a very good game. Let's just call it a bog standard 7 out of 10 sort of game. Decent player. You know what I mean? Kukure gets some rest as well. And the injury is going to, slowly but surely, full fitness is coming, right? Fofana in there. You know, Andre Santos getting some more minutes as well. You know, Lavia getting some more minutes. You know, when we're going to get 90 minutes out of him? Chelsea are starting to get their players back. Cole Palmer is going to be due back very soon. You know, the only one that is obviously more long-term is obviously both of them, is Delap and Colwill. But I just look at this team and say, you know what? There's a system there, right? And I just like how Maresca's tweaked things with the wingers. Gittin's best performance in a Chelsea shirt today. And yeah, he had the means to like express himself a lot more off that left-hand side. And that's probably where a lot of Chelsea's attacks came from. But the man I want to talk about is the man you called Steve. Yeah, that man, Estevao. Estevao. Oh, how does he say his name? How do you say his name? Esteve? What? I don't know. That man, that kid, whatever you want to call him, that is a wonder kid, mate. He is only, what, 17, 18 years of age. And I think, like, I don't think people realize the talent and confidence at display right now. Yeah? Every time I see him put on a Chelsea shirt, and it's weird how he gets minimal minutes, but I suppose Maresca's easing them in. You don't need to flog these 18-year-olds and push them and make sure they got all the minutes in the world. You don't need to ruin them so quick. Easing them in, I can see what he's trying to do. And fair play, yeah, because I've said that, but he needs more minutes. Him and Pedro Neto should be the wingers for Chelsea. Wholeheartedly, I need to see more of that. Yeah, because see Neto, when he plays off the left, super direct, yeah, and I feel like he's got that whippage in him. I just feel like, oh, this guy's crazy, yeah. Off the right, a little bit more direct, and I think it kind of, like against Liverpool, oh, Pedro Neto, my word, right? But Estevao has just got that, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got that something where when he picks up the ball, you can't help but just watch, and he gets you off your seat. He is phenomenal. Yeah, not my man in the match today, but if you look across the whole 90 minutes, he was having fun. That's what happens when you're up by 5-1 by the time it gets to halftime. You don't need to do much. If you get more goals, sure, just don't need to batter them 7, 8, 9. You can tally up as much GA as you want, right? But you just manage your minutes in your legs. You got a few more games coming up. On to the next one. Save yourself. There's no point stressing, and there's no point putting more, I suppose, stress on your legs and, you know, from running hard, obviously, in these intense games. That man is brilliant. And I can't stop talking about this kid, man, where he plays on the right or his best times in the 10. Sotto Buenanotte today as well, a few times. I know his desire is to play more in a 10, but it'd be interesting if Maresca's kind of teeing up this, you know, if Estevao, Cole Palmer comes back, there might be a little bit more of a time where, you know, they swap positions during in game. And you know what? It might even be gearing up to this. Does anyone remember Oscar, Eden Hazard, and Juan Mata? How all three of those attacking mids behind, I think at the time was Torres, how they used to interchange with one another. You know, Juan Mata will sometimes pop up on the left, Eden Hazard will pop up in the 10, and then Oscar will be on the right hand side. If Chelsea somehow replicate that with Neto, Estevao, and obviously Cole Palmer, that could be very dangerous because it's very difficult to pick up these sort of technicians on the field, especially when they're all in sync as well. Chelsea's football is sublime. You just need more quality in certain positions, and I feel like you're going to have something. But Mark Zhu, I said it last game, he changed the game for me. when he came on. Let me make sure I don't look like an absolute prat, right? But Chelsea, he came on and he changed the game for me against yeah, that was it, against Forest last game. I forget that you beat Forest. But yeah, he came on as a substitute, and I thought, oh, if it wasn't for him and Caicedo come on, I thought, yeah, them two, it brings a lot more balance to the side. And when he played today, you know what? Maybe Don was kind of correct on him. This guy's a good footballer. He's very young. He's getting his minutes, and you can kind of see what he's made of. But the difference when João Pedro's in the 10 and Mark Zhu goes up front is night and day. That's a striker doing what a striker knows and what he's learned throughout his years through that academy. And in men's football, I feel like this is a striker it's very much, I wouldn't say it doesn't need to be spoken about yet. There's not a lot of hype that's needed, but he's very much under the radar. The things that he does for the side. This is the same stuff we give praise for Gyökeres. Not scoring many goals like that, but the stuff that he does for the team is very underrated, and it doesn't get spoken about just yet because no one's really noticing. But I noticed him today for sure, and I said he did get that goal. It was a nice goal, and he deserved it. And even Tyreek George. I know I don't feel like he's in Maresca's plans, but he's given that little something here and there, you know, and you know what? He probably ends up moving on next year, but if he can keep chipping in with these odd goals, I know he came on, I suppose he was 4-1 up, then he scored 5-1, 46 minutes solved. But if he can keep chipping in with his goals, it could really help Chelsea in the long run, because your games coming up next is Sunderland, Wolves, and Tottenham. You always beat Tottenham. And I don't see why you can't do it again, especially being at their gaff as well, where they are not as good as they are away from home. But the way I view it, you got Wolves and Sunderland. Get your 5-game win bags in a row, and then of course you got your next game. I don't know who in the Champions League, but I feel like there can be a bit of a momentum run for Chelsea, picking up some wins along the way as well. But anyways, people, smash the like. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comments, obviously. And yeah, subscribe if you're brand new, man. I like these. I like what Chelsea's doing. Are you liking what Chelsea are doing? Let me know.